Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Make or Break show. We're hanging out with Matt Schwartz today, calling in from Indiana. Excited to chat with you about all things metal fabrication. It sounds like you do just a ton of really crazy stuff. Not especially some of the stuff it looks like you have behind you. So real excited to geek out with you a little bit about all of that. So but thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with us.
Thanks for having me. It's my first interview ever, so I'm a little excited, a little nervous, so hopefully this will go well.
Well, hopefully it's just like a normal conversation, so I'm not going to try to do anything super crazy idea. But before we get into all of, especially the Star Wars stuff, the prop building and all of that, like, have you been in that community for a little while?
Not really, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I started doing it just because my brother started building a Boba Fett costume, and
Okay.
I was like, let me try to build you a helmet.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started doing that.
Did you go straight to aluminum when you were working with it?
Yeah, it's what I do every day for my day job. So that's what it's my element to use. You know, some people use foam, some people use wood, some aluminum is my thing. So that's what I know. So that's what I use.
That's awesome. Yeah. When I guess I first saw your stuff popping up, like, I'm used to seeing people doing like foam builds, or if they're getting crazy, they'll do like cast resin and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh man, he has like real like so semi-real armor. This is cool. But okay, so rewinding then, how did you kind of get into working with your hands? Like, was that something you did growing up?
It was Legos on Grandma and Grandpa's floor.
Okay.
You know, I started real early. That was kind of my creative element, Legos. I mean,
yeah.
I really didn't start working with metal until probably I can't remember, a sophomore, junior year of high school, where I actually had metals class.
Oh, cool.
And so that was awesome. That made me, I really excelled at that. So I fell in love with working
What
with
was
metal.
it about metal that you enjoyed?
It's metal. It's super, you know, it was right around the time when West Coast Choppers and the Boyd Coddington, the American, all that stuff started coming out, and I love those shows. And so I got an opportunity in high school to work with metal. I was like, I want to do that. I want to make hot rods. I want to build race cars. I want to do that whole thing. So that's kind of where that path led to me doing.
That's cool. I loved watching West Coast Choppers and all of those shows on Discovery. At least at that point, I guess it never clicked with me like, oh, this is something I could do. I was always in awe of like Jesse James and all of that. I'm like, this is like a magician. Like, what is this stuff? And then the family drama, I think, is what I got into the most. I'm like, these guys are just crazy. So
I just like the metal work. Yeah.
You just like the metal. Yeah. That's sweet. So was it like your kind of traditional, like, what did that course, I guess, look like in high school? Like, what did you get exposed to?
It started off with acetylene gas welding, not TIG welding, not MIG welding. It was acetylene gas welding and cutting. And so that's just, I don't know if you know what that is. It's just, you have a torch, well, kind of like you saw in my one video where I had the torch and it was with fire.
Yeah.
So we started there. And so that's kind of, when you're welding, you need your hand-eye foot coordination, all that stuff going on. So that got me, I kind of fell into it. It was easy for me. And so just a little genetics, I guess. I don't know. But once I knew that I was good at it, and I was like, well, I might actually be able to do this. And so that's kind of where we started with that in high school.
Did anyone in your family do stuff on like the fabrication side of things? Or
my dad was a carpenter. So he was good with his hands. I come from a family of artists. My brother's a fantastic drawer. My dad was a fantastic artist too in his own right. He did pastels and pastel portraits kind of stuff. So more along the lines of the artistic stuff. But I know both my grandparents, I think, grandpas worked with metal and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's great. So did you go into like fabrication out of high school, or kind of how did you get?
So after high school, after the metals class, I went out to Wyotek because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to either work on cars, or they had 2 courses, a chassis fabrication course and a hot rod course. And that was 6 months of just working with metals. And once again, there I kind of fell into, it was easy for me. And my talent started building. And yeah, that was 1 year. Wyotek was a quick 1 year course. It was 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And So yeah, I learned all my TIG welding there to start, and a lot of that stuff, the forming of metal and whatnot, got me introduced into that.
Yeah, yeah. Was it a lot of like hands-on, or was there like theory and stuff too that you like metallurgy and all that kind of crazy stuff?
Yeah, so it started off, it was they separated it in 6 weeks, and then there was a break, and then another 6 weeks. And the first 4 weeks it was all theory.
Okay.
You didn't even get a set foot in the shop. It was just talking through all that stuff through binders that were this thick. And then it was 2 weeks in that first phase where you got to get into the shop and do your proficiencies, which were your TIG welds, and they check them and say, oh, yeah, you passed the test. And so the second phase was kind of opposite: 2 weeks of just theory, and then 4 weeks in the shop. And I did that twice with the chassis fab and the hot rod. So
that's cool.
I kind of knew I was doing well because I got all my tests done within the first couple of days, and it took everybody else a little longer. So
yeah,
I just kind of fell into my niche. It's like, okay, this is what I need to be doing.
That's crazy. So did you work on hot rods? Was that your dream? Like, is that kind of where you wanted? Okay.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be doing it for a living like I am now.
Right.
But it was just kind of a hope. But yeah, we got to. The nice part about getting your testing done early was you got to work on your own projects after that. And so I got to build a chassis for this guy's drag. It was a Chevy Cavalier, but I got to build a chassis for that and a roll cage. And then in the hot rod course, I got to build a whole metal body, not the body, but the interior of this 68 Belvedere, another drag. So yeah, it got me a lot of experience, just kind of doing whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not like super in the drag racing world, and I guess when I hear drag racing, I just think of like the really high ones, like with the big wheels in the back and the flames. And like my friend had a Chevy Cavalier, and I'm trying to think of that as a drag racer because I think it's tiny. Dude, is that a lot of like people just kind of take what they have and like convert it to race it?
The bracket racing, yeah. Okay. Those cars that you do think of are the cars that I actually build for a living.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah, over 330 miles per hour. Just insane things. And that's what I've been doing for my day job for the last 16 and a half years.
Jeez.
So
that's wild. So how old are you then when you started working? Which company did you say you're with?
It's called McKinney Corp.
McKinney. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I just turned 20. I graduated high school. I went to WildTech for a year, and then I started at the job I'm working at now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is just, like, I feel like when I'm with folks that maybe I don't know really well, and I tell them what I do, and it's kind of hard to describe because I do a bunch of random things. Yeah. But I feel like you have like the coolest, like, yeah, I build hot rods. Like that's gonna be fun when folks don't really know you.
Yeah, it is fun because, I mean, you could say turn on an NHRA drag race. That's what I do for a living, you know, and everybody knows. Like even you, not familiar with drag racing, knew what a big drag car looks like with the big wing and the fire coming out. And so, yeah, it's a well-known type of vehicle.
Right. For people that aren't like familiar with that world, like what is it like to actually work on like a drag racer? Like what do you kind of do day to day? What does that look like?
I kind of formed out this niche for myself in the company where I build all the fuel tanks and a lot of the aluminum parts for the race car. So if you watch an NHRA drag race and you're watching top fuel dragsters or the funny cars go down the track, I built the fuel tanks that are in those cars, probably all of them.
Gotcha.
And so when I first started, it was just kind of odds and ends, you know, proving myself. And once I proved myself, then I've built funny car and top fuel dragster chassis. If you know what a funny car is, that they flop open.
Yeah.
I've mounted those bodies. I've done it all. And through over those years, I've kind of fell into this niche of the fuel tanks. So
do you have crazy cars of your own, or you just work on them?
I just work on them.
You don't have a dragster in your driveway that you're...
No, and I've never even really, I mean, there was a point in my life before I got married, maybe I would have thought of doing something like that, but
yeah,
I'm more of a family man, you know, putting time into my kids and my wife and doing all that sort of stuff. So that kind of, all that stuff kind of went to the side.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if you raced. That's so. Are there, like, when races are actually happening, like, are there people like you there that can do repairs and stuff? Like, is that even a thing, or is most of your work like okay?
Each team has fabricators on it.
Gotcha.
So they've got guys that can kind of do their own repairs, or sometimes at races we've had to go out and help out teams and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
I really only make it to one race a year. I used to make it to more, but and that's the one around me here in Indianapolis. So
Gotcha. What is like, what was your favorite thing to work on? Like you mentioned, you've carved out a niche, but like, do you enjoy, like, is there a certain like process that you really enjoy doing?
I do enjoy making the tanks. I'm kind of a perfectionist in a way, and always trying to achieve that perfect tank and all that stuff. And I haven't done it yet, but I enjoy, yeah, crafting and doing that sort of stuff. Trying to challenge myself every day.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy making the tanks. Everybody knows me for it, or at least knows that McKinney Corp makes the best fuel tanks, and that's a really cool thing to have achieved. You know?
That's really cool. What is that process like to make a tank for someone, especially like me, that like I know very little about that world?
And so it's kind of progressed over the years since I've started. We used to make them a lot of them by hand, laying them out on a table or getting them water jet. And about 8-9 years ago, we bought this awesome Trump CNC punch. And
cool.
The flat, it starts on the flat. You have a sheet of material, you have a program, like you probably know CNC stuff, and it punches it out in a flat form, and there's all sorts of flares, and then it gets bent on a CNC machine. And so when it comes to me, it's already bent, all the parts are there. I just have to put all those parts together now and weld them, which in itself is a task.
Right. So is that TIG welding for aluminum, or?
So on most of the seams are TIG welded, yes. We do the special process that uses hydrogen and oxygen, kind of like acetylene welding, to weld the outside seams. And what that weld is, it's slightly softer, and so if something bad happens, an explosion, those seams won't rip. The tank will just balloon and boink.
Got it.
And so that's why we gas weld the main seams on the fuel tanks.
Yeah, that makes sense. The flex of it. I never even would have thought about that. That you would actually want that in the pieces. I never would even thought of aluminum like as something you would want in like a just like a car that's doing high performance stuff. Like I guess when I think of aluminum, I think of like, oh, that's like weak, like that's like a soda can. But it sounds, I mean, you could do some pretty insane stuff with it.
Yeah, they're making rocket ships out of it. They're making airplanes, all the airplane tanks. I mean, it's the same process that they were doing in the gas welding seam. It's the same process they were doing back in World War II for the airplane tanks. And so aluminum is pretty strong in its own right. I mean, it is softer than that, but lightweight and strong.
That's cool. That's real cool. How long does it take once it gets to you to like get it to whatever the next stage is?
Anywhere, if it's like an alcohol funny car tank, 5 hours or so. If it's
so it's like a one-day deal.
It's a top field dragster tank, 12 to 16 hours, sometimes 20 hours. I mean, it just all depends. Everybody's got a different tank, and we do them all custom. I mean, there's not a set tank.
So are you involved on the CAD side too, like the design pieces and doing all that?
My boss picks my brain every once in a while. I'm not actually drawing them myself. I've taught myself, and some of the guys at work have taught me how to use CAD. I can go in there and use CAD, but I'm not the guy that does that. I'm not the engineer that does that.
Got it. But that process is neat. So the knives, I guess before we started recording, like I thought that was your day job, was selling like tactical knives, but it sounds like it's a side hustle that you have. How did you get into that? So
I used to look over this website called Soldier Systems, because I was in the tactical gear and doing that whole kind of stuff, and I saw a carbon fiber dagger on there, and I'm like, oh, I could make that so much better by laminating, because we use this process in the race car shop, laminating titanium to carbon fiber. And I'm like, oh, I could make a great edged. So I made one for myself. I actually made 2 of them, and I sent one to my buddy in the Air Force. He flies C-130s, and he had a training deal with some Navy SEALs, and he showed it to them, and they thought it was really, really awesome. Yeah. So and he got that back to me, and I'm like, well, maybe I could sell some of these. I didn't really even think about it. I just kind of fell into it. So is that, do you do that? Like, do you have your own shop, or are you using that like in your day job shop too? So I get them water jet out at work.
Okay.
profiles. I draw them up in CAD, and then I'll bring them home and do the rest of it here. I just have a belt sander and the stuff to make the sheets and all that stuff here at home.
Yeah. So you're doing like all the grinding and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Like it's still the same process, I guess, like in normal knife making. Okay.
The only thing that's different, well, not the only thing, there's quite a bit, is there's no heat treat. Titanium comes as it is. I mean, I suppose there probably is some titanium that you can heat treat. I don't know how to do it, but so to gain, actually titanium, 6.4 titanium, softer than a hard knife. So like a hard knife is like 60 RC. Titanium's 40 to 45 RC. And so in order to gain that edge retention back, we carbonize it, in which we put tungsten carbide on the cutting edge. And that brings it up to like 72 RC.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It works really well as a knife. I mean, it's not, I don't know. It has its pros and it has its cons.
Is it, I imagine, is it lighter than like a normal knife because it's carbon fiber? Okay. Yeah.
It's about 2 ounces.
That's wild.
It feels like a toy. It's really, that's what everybody, I have to get them to sell them like at a trade show, pick it up. And they're just like, oh, wow, there's nothing here.
Right.
It's like a toy. So
do you sell like to military folks?
I have
just all over.
It's all over. I've got my website and I've got a wholesaler that buys, that's the bulk of my business, that and they just go out to the dealers all over. So
that's cool. So is that just like at nights? Like how do you kind of balance that with everything else?
Nights. Yeah. I just recently wrote my brother into helping me.
Oh, good. Yeah. Do like I know for me, like I sell like just signs that I use a CNC for. So like Christmas time, like right now is actually pretty busy. Like is that like a holiday gift, or are there like different seasons on like the tactical side?
It just kind of steady. I mean,
Cool.
I haven't really seen a peak or a fall, or I mean, it just kind of ebbs and flows, honestly.
Yeah, that's neat. So now all of this makes way more sense when we get to the stuff you've been doing on like the Mandalorian and all the armor and everything. And so when did you said 5 years ago is kind of when you first started getting into it with your brother?
Yeah, about 5 years ago, I think 4 or 5, somewhere in there.
Was anyone else making like armor out of metal?
Oh yeah,
like in that world. Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple guys. I'm sure there's a lot more than me that are amazing at it.
Yeah,
just amazing at it. I know the guy that actually started the Mandalorian Mercs Costume Club. He does metal.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
He does metal kits, and there's another guy, Dresden. He does all stuff out of like stainless steel.
That's wild.
Like legitimate. It's awesome. Yeah.
Do you ever show up? Like, do you go to like conventions or?
Oh yeah.
You do the full thing. Because I would still imagine it. Like if I saw like an actual metal kit, it would be like, oh man, that's that. Like, do you get cool reactions when people like actually see what you've got on?
Yeah. I paint a lot of them, so you can't really tell. And then they ask, and you're like, "Well, I made it out of metal." And they're like, "No, you didn't, really." Wow, So that's always a fun reaction.
Yeah. You're like, if I drop this like 3D printed part, like mine's breaking, but yours is good to go.
I'll just kick it across the floor.
That's wild. All right, so how much? So what kits do you have, or do you have like completed kits that you wear?
Yeah, I've done 9 iterations of my official one.
Jeez. Okay.
And I have 5 that are put together and wearable right now.
That's wild. So do you have your own, I guess, like character within like the Mandalorian world? Like, is that because I've kind of gotten to that a little bit, and I thought that was like the fun part is you get to be way more creative than just like a stormtrooper. So
yeah, yes and no. I don't play it up too much.
Right.
I really enjoy it because I get to be creative. I enjoy the build, and I love wearing it, and I love getting reactions. But my heart's really in the build, so I get it done. And I'm like, okay, what can I do next? That's why I have 5. That's why. So, but yeah, I do enjoy kind of getting into the character. I'm not as good as it as some folks, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How do you balance the accuracy side of things? Because I know people get like super into it if you're doing like Boba Fett or Jango Fett versus the creative side and having more like freedom with what you're designing.
And that's why I've kind of this the Mandalorian build is kind of it'll be my second cannon. I've done a Shore Trooper from Rogue One. I didn't build that out of metal. I bought those parts and kind of put it together.
Yeah.
But this will be my first cannon build. So, which means it's got to be. I'm trying to get it as screen accurate as possible. It's obviously not going to get there, but
Right.
But yeah, it's been hard.
How do you are you working off of references? Like, are you designing it digitally and then trying to match it?
No, I just look at the screen caps, the
Okay.
pictures, and go on CAD and draw up what I think it is, and then print it out 1-to-1 and put it on poster board and tape it together and say, yeah, that looks right.
Yeah.
Just
So
go.
since you're working from a sheet, because I've only done, I guess, 3D modeling to 3D print, but like, do you still build it, I guess, in 3D and then flatten it out to do it
No,
into sheets? So
it's just
you're thinking 2D and 3D at the same time when you're designing?
yes,
Oh
yeah.
gosh. Okay.
So it's not yes. You're saying okay. How I do it? Like, for instance, I got this here. This is 3D, right?
Yeah.
And I need to figure out how this looks in a flat piece.
Right.
So I'll just start what I think it should be, print it out 1-to-1, put it on a poster board, and try to tape it together, tape this
Okay.
seam together. And if it doesn't line up or if it doesn't look right, and then I go make my tweaks
Got it. Got
in the
it.
flat layout.
Cool. So it's almost like you're doing what, like, is it paper cura, I guess,
Epicura or
the paper, however people say it, the paper folding and everything. So you're
yeah,
almost
probably.
doing that, but then taking it to metal once you get the form.
Yeah, yeah, more or less, I think.
What's the hardest piece so far for you to make?
This Mandalorian helmet.
The helmet. Okay.
By far, yeah. It took me, I probably have 40 to 50 hours in it from doing templates to the finished product. I mean, that was a lot of time, and getting the right templates is the key part in all this,
Yeah. So I saw that the video went live, about 3 weeks ago. But
Yeah.
I imagine you were working on this before the show was actually running, right?
Yeah.
Like, were you just running from like little references?
Yeah. Yeah. It was the best references I had was that Anovos helmet when they
Okay.
posted their 3D boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
That was, just use that as the reference.
That's neat. What's like the reaction been like as that's gotten out there? Because like when I'm looking through YouTube, like that one definitely pops out. I'm like, oh man, he's got lots of views, and I feel like you're getting a lot of
Yeah.
activity around it.
It was unexpected. I haven't been doing the YouTube thing long. I just kind of started. I wanted to get information out there about how to build a Mandalorian kit. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to build this Mandalorian helmet. And if it turns out good, it does. If not, it doesn't. And it turned out awesome. And so to see the reaction that I've gotten was really unexpected and really wonderful, honestly. I mean, to go from the most views I had on a video with 700 views to 100,000 views now is a little insane.
Yeah.
The 100,000 people out there have taken the time, and it's a 53-minute video. I know people aren't watching it all the way through, but it's a long video, and the response has been awesome, like overwhelming.
Do you get people asking you like how much? Like,
Yeah.
can I buy that? Okay.
Lots and lots, and I've just been like, I'm not even thinking about it. I would like to get the whole kit complete.
Yeah.
In that helmet in that video I sold. I
Oh,
sold to
really?
a guy
Okay.
in Switzerland to fund my build. I wasn't, so I'm just trying to make the money so I can put it back into
going.
my costume,
Yeah.
So
How expensive is aluminum, or the aluminum that you're using?
I honestly don't know the exacts because I get it at work, and then I just say I use this and they charge me for it.
Okay.
And I usually wrap that stuff in with my knife orders.
Okay, cool.
But I don't think it's that expensive. When it comes to metalworking, it's the time that's really expensive.
Right.
So I know shop rates are in between 100 and 150 bucks an hour, so yeah.
If you didn't have access to some of the bigger tools, like, would you be able to do something like this? Like if someone wanted to approach like a build like this, like, is it even feasible for somebody?
That's hard to say. I've never attempted it. I'm sure people out there are amazing.
Right.
And they can grab a stump of wood and they could beat that metal full. I've seen Mandalorian kits done that way amazingly. So yeah, I'm assuming somebody out there could do it. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm spoiled little brat in my amazing boss's shop that he allows me to do it in. Some of the flat stuff, yeah, like aluminum, like Boba Fett style plates. Yeah, you could do that with a pair of tin snips and files and form it over your leg and that kind of stuff. The helmet, the planishing the dome and getting it smooth, well, it'd be tough. It'd be real tough.
What was is that the hardest part of the helmet build? Okay.
Yeah, by far. Just getting the pieces to line up and get them to look right, and then have everything. Yeah, it's really hard.
What was it like putting it on, like once you kind of had it fully like assembled, or to the point where it looked like the real thing?
It was, what was that again? I'm sorry.
What was it like? Like, I guess when you put that on the first time.
When I put it on,
right.
I was like, holy cow, I actually did it. It actually works. And I can see out of it. You can see pretty well.
Yeah. What are you using for not the glass, but I guess the
visor?
The visor, yeah, I couldn't think of the word.
I use a Hobart. See if I could show you. I don't know. It's a Hobart grinding shield. That comes in a flat. And I just use tin snips to cut them out.
Huh.
They're about $6 on Amazon.
Yeah, I need to look at that. I've tried 3D printing just a small version of one, but I hadn't got to the visor yet. And I was like, I don't really know how I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, Hobart visors, or you can buy window tinting, like mirrored window tinting.
Yeah.
From Lowe's or wherever, and just a clear one, and just tint the outside, not the inside, because as soon as you curl it, it bubbles through the outside and it stretches it. So that's really useful.
So you've got the helmet, and then you've got the, I guess, like the breastplate. What else? Or you've still got to do, I guess, like the shoulders, and what else do you still have to build? So you're still okay. You haven't posted anything about that, right?
That's the video that crashed out on me.
Oh no.
So I just got these finished, and hopefully I'll be posting that video on Monday.
Gotcha. Cool. Cool.
Also, I did these too. Sorry, I'm reaching off camera here, but
no, you're fine.
The little greeblies.
Oh yeah.
For the belts.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So I just built those too.
That's cool. What I guess you have, is it the gauntlets? Like, what else do you have left after you get this? A lot.
I've got the gauntlets. That's going to be a hard build. And then I got the thigh armor. I got the one shore trooper leg. And then I've got to do the side panels, the butt plates or whatever they're called. And then he actually does have a back plate.
Huh. Okay.
So I'm going to guess on that. I'm not exactly sure what that looks like. So there's a lot of metal work yet left to do. So I got all the soft parts.
Yeah, soft parts. That's true. You do already have it, you said?
I don't. I got all the materials, but I haven't started yet.
Got it. So when you're watching the show, do you have are you just studying the armor the hard time? Like, are you able to pull out of that and just like enjoy it?
The first time I enjoy it, I'll just sit down and just watch it. And then the second time I'm up on my TV with my phone taking screenshots.
That's funny.
Stopping and going and stopping and going. So
what was it like when you saw the armor? Like, I guess in the first episode.
The first time I saw the armor, just the Jon Favreau's clip, I was a little disappointed. Like, that armor.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed out because he didn't seem like he had an ab plate. It wasn't kind of like a Boba Fett style or Django style, because that's how most of our armors are, unless you're running a legacy set or some of the other stuff. But as I've seen it more and seen it, I'm really starting to love it. I love it a lot. And then when he got the chrome set, I found out with the chrome set, I'm like, oh, I got to build that one.
Yeah. Because that's like, will you go back to do, I guess, his like not as good armor, or his not his full Beskar?
I actually did do his. Let's see if I can pull this out here. Sorry. I actually did do his.
Oh, cool.
That thing was, I did that first. I would like to redo it, but I might, go back and do the other one too.
Do you enjoy the more pristine pieces, or do you like getting into the weathering and all of that?
I have just started figuring out weathering, and it's a lot of fun. So I do enjoy seeing it once it's all beat up and it looks awesome.
Yeah. Because
my first actually Mandalorian Merc set they're all clean. Everybody always yells at me because they're clean, and you gotta beat that up.
Right.
But I don't know how to do it. I guess I need to figure that out.
Yeah. How do you weather steel? Because I always see techniques on how to weather things that aren't, like try to make it look like steel, but like when you're actually or aluminum.
So in the fabrication process, it's not going to be perfect. Let's see if I can get a good picture of there's sanding marks in it already.
Okay. Yeah.
Or you can just hit it with a hammer.
Yeah.
And there's your weathering. And then like with the helmet, I went in with watered down brown paint, just fill in all the cracks and do a black wash. Black washing on its own will make it look really good. It just fills in all the cracks and divots and makes it look old.
Yeah. So that's even, I mean, that's pretty much the same thing people do with like 3D printed helmets or
Yeah.
like foam helmets, the same idea. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have to polish it a
Yeah.
lot once you get done? Okay.
So I'm really happy because aluminum doesn't look, it's more like a silvery shiny, or
Okay.
how do you say? I don't know. But I found out if I sandblast it and then polish it, it has that more grayish
Yeah.
tint to it, and it
Right.
looks almost just like that Beskar. So I don't have to really do anything.
Yeah.
Just sandblast it and polish it by hand, and it turns out looking almost perfect.
That's cool. Yeah, because I've seen people do, I guess, the graphite, like a
Mhm.
and then they paint on top of it, or a clear coat on top
Yeah.
of it. But sandblasting, that's way more fun than using
Yeah.
graphite.
And sandblasting too with metal, it kind of forms everything together. It smooths it all together, makes it look
Yeah.
more smooth, and just takes out some of the sanding marks that you have to put in there and whatnot. So
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have a goal to get this done by? Like, is there a date that you're shooting for, or like a
yeah,
dimension that you're shooting for?
I'm shooting for. There's a con in Chicago called C2E2,
Okay.
and that's in April. So I'm hoping to be done by April. Um, Having to videotape everything, it just
Right.
takes twice as long.
Yeah,
and,
it totally does.
and so I'm hoping to be able to wear it there for the first time. And if I get it done before that and there's a con, I'll probably jump in it and wear it there.
That's fun. The YouTube piece, like you mentioned, you initially got on just to kind of share what you were doing. Is that still kind of the reason? Because yeah, it does take, it's way more work to record and build at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I got a passion. I want to be able to teach, because there's a lot of people out there that want to know metalworking. There's a lot of people, and it's kind of, there's a lot of these shops opening up. What are they called? The maker spaces.
Mhm.
And so people are going to have access to the stuff, but they just won't have access to how do you turn a machine on.
Yeah.
So I would like to sit down. I found my old Wyotech binder from the hot rod shop, and I'm thinking I'm going to sit down and teach through some of that stuff, like the welding.
Oh, cool.
And so I'd like to do that, teach some people, and yeah, build through my cosplays. I had a goal to get monetized, start making some money so I can fund my hobby, and I got to that with that one video, which
Right.
was amazing. And so hopefully some money will start coming in now. And with that, I hope to build bigger and better projects too.
Do you have a dream project that you want to build?
So our 501st Garrison here is, I'm gonna blank on it now. It's, what is the name of our? Sorry. Anyway,
No, you're fine.
it's Darth Maul Speeder.
Okay.
What's that thing called? I want to build that for them as a prop, which is, yeah, in episode 1, he's got that speeder bike thing.
Yeah.
And that's the name of our garrison. They're going to be mad at me for forgetting.
we can edit that out.
Bloodfin. It's the Bloodfin. Thank you. Okay.
Cool. And that thing hovers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So will you have it to where it can move? Like, will it be like on a motorcycle or something?
I'd like to have it suspended. Probably not moving, but suspended so people can get pictures at a convention.
Oh, cool.
And sit on it. And yeah.
That's wild.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So you mentioned the maker spaces, and yeah, I think that's a good point, because when I think of maker spaces, it's still more in the, I guess, more like the nerdier side of things. I mean, the Star Wars stuff that you're doing is definitely on the geekier side, but it's like, I guess when I think of metal, that's almost like a different category of like the type of folks. I guess like the stereotypes, like these are like the hardcore guys versus oh, you're just playing around with like a little 3D printer, like you're like, or electronics. But that's that'd be really cool to see more in that side of things.
Yeah, there's a couple here in Indiana too. I know there's one in just an hour from me that we actually do a lot of armor parties at.
Okay.
And they've got both the 3D printing and the metal stuff, and they're trying to expand it as big as they can. I believe there's one here in my town called the Matchbox. I've never been in there. I know they've got the 3D printing stuff, but yeah, a lot of these maker spaces, I think they're just going to be everything, sewing and 3D printing and wood shop, metal shop. And so, yeah,
that's really neat. And I saw that you had you were doing a giveaway. Is that right? I guess your most recent video.
Yeah, I said in my first video, if I got monetized, I give away a helmet, and I got to do that now. I got monetized, so it's time to give away a helmet.
Now, those are those the same Mandalorian helmets, or there's a different design?
They're just one of my custom designs, kind of like my simple model that I can make over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. That those look real sweet. Do people make helmets out of steel?
Yeah.
Like real, I guess not real, but like if it was actual armor, like what it would look like?
Oh, I don't think steel is bulletproof in
Okay.
that kind of, I think like military helmets are more Kevlar based or titanium.
Okay.
They're more, or ceramics even. I know there is one, the Galactic guy made like a Boba Fett style that was actually bulletproof, but I think they filled it with ceramics.
Yeah.
I mean, a steel helmet, I'd probably have to be like an AR 500 type steel, like the shooting plates, and that'd be
super heavy, right?
Super heavy. Yeah. 20 pounds, something crazy probably.
How much does yours weigh?
It was like 3 pounds, I think.
Okay, that's not much at all.
No, they're pretty light. 3 pounds on your head is quite a bit, but if you can carry it right, I put a nice harness in there so it does, get hot spots, and you can wear it pretty long for a long time.
So what do you think like the full kit will, or what are your other kits, like how much do they weigh when you're fully on?
I just weighed one of my other ones, and I think it was 75 pounds.
Oh geez. Okay, that's a workout.
But that's everything though. I mean, that's everything. So all the guns and the belts and all the So
do you also do like the full builds of weapons? Like like are they metal and all of that?
Yeah. Some of the ones, which it kind of stinks because a lot of cons won't let you have them.
Yeah, right.
They're metal. But yeah, I try to do all metal stuff. I have to figure out what to do on some of these now that they're kind of biting down on it pretty hard. But yeah, I build all metal blasters and whatnot.
That's cool. How long does it take just to do a normal blaster?
The first one, I mean, probably a week of a lunch hour and like an hour after work.
Okay.
8 hours, 6 hours, depending on how fancy I want to make it.
Yeah. So you're doing these builds during lunch too, like in the middle. Is it hard to shift gears from working on like dragsters and then you're working on like a helmet from Star Wars?
Yeah, it can be, and then the transfer back in after lunch.
Yeah,
but it's my kids are doing sports, and I don't have my weekends available right now, so I just like, okay, I'm gonna start doing it at lunch and trying to pump these videos out and that sort of stuff. So that's. Which I kind of like the format that I've been doing. I want to show the whole process. I know it's not ideally you can see every little detail, but you can actually see the whole process, which I think is important.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about your helmet. Is this you like you said, you got to see the full thing, because that's what I had a hard time is just imagining. Like even the steps to get there, and it was just cool to, even though I can't do it or I don't have the machines to do it, it's just cool to see like, oh, like it makes sense. Like if you have this stuff, this is how you can actually build something like this. Yeah,
a lot of tools, a lot of format. I mean, my videos are coming out a little repetitious because it's my process.
Right.
I like to show it over and over again. But yeah, moving from flat sheet and shearing it out back to the bandsaw to the hole puncher to so yeah. It's been fun.
How did you get into Star Wars? I should actually do that at the beginning.
So I was born in '83.
Okay.
So I was born the year that Return of the Jedi came out. And so I didn't get to see them. I only saw them on VHS. It was a big deal. My dad had to rent the VCR, and we got to watch all 3 of them all in a row. And I was 5 or 6, I think, maybe 7. I can't, and then I was hooked. Me and my brother. My sister, not so much, but me and my brother were hooked. And so, yeah, it was just, when you see it at that age, you get endeared to it. And then when your brother's building a Boba Fett costume and you build him a helmet, you're like, I should do this too.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started in the whole Star Wars world.
Yeah. Because then I guess, because I was 86, so I'm just a few years younger than you. So I guess the prequels then were like high school or late high school. Is that right? Or somewhere in there?
I've been, I think, sophomore, junior year.
Okay.
I'm really bad with time like that.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
I think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I remember watching 3 when I got here in Indiana because I grew up in Minnesota, and so yeah, it's been a while.
So you mentioned the shore trooper build. Have you done, or do you want to do other ones outside of kind of the Mandalorian world?
Yeah, I have a goal of being a member of each of the Star Wars groups.
Oh,
At
cool.
least the 501st, the Mandalorian Mercs, I'm already in. Now I need to do a Rebel Legion costume, and so I actually started it. It was a Revan, a light side Revan build.
Oh yeah, I feel like I saw. Yeah, a picture of that. Cool.
Yeah, and that one went on the back burner as soon as the Mandalorian came out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll fall in the Rebel Legion or not. I don't know where they'll put him in the groups wise.
That's true. That's very true. So in the first episode, I think it was the first episode when they had, I guess, like the blacksmith. I forget what they called her. Like, were you like, wait a minute, like that's like that would be me if I was in this world right now.
Yeah, I totally did, and I'll give it away a little bit, but my Pauldron's build, I kind of did a little spoof of that.
Oh, cool.
It's way harder than what she makes it.
Yeah, when she had like the thing that like stamped down and then it was there. I'm like, wait a minute, that's got to be way harder than what she just did.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, hopefully people will take it as the comedy that it is.
Right. That's neat. Well, Ben, I appreciate you jumping on and chatting with us. It's cool to see what you're doing, I guess, in your spare time, and nerding out about stuff that I definitely enjoy talking about. But for people that do want to check what you're doing, it's the Welding Geek on YouTube. Is that the best place? Okay.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to find the actual channel just searching the Welding Geek, but maybe just put in the Mandalorian helmet build or something like that. Because I've actually tried to search it and I never can find myself for some reason on an account that's not my own.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
hopefully that will change as I get more views. I hope.
Yeah, and I'll include links to everything in the show notes if you guys need to figure it out. But as far as like other like Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's May the Schwartz be with you cosplay on my Instagram.
That's a great Instagram.
I've had that email address since I was 16. May the Schwartz be with you. So luckily I just lucked out with that last name. And then Schwartz_tactical is my Instagram account for the knife business. So
cool. Well, man, thank you so much for chatting.
That was fun. That went by quick, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, totally. It was a blast.
But yeah, thanks again.